Hi guys, this is Breaker again, and it looks like we got a ZVZ going down between EGIdrA and a barcode player. Possibly, I was going to say possibly on the Korean server, but given that the map name was Whirlwind in English, I honestly wouldn't. Given the fact that it was in English, I would say it's much more likely that it was actually on the North American ladder. Okay, so guys, here we go. In the upper left-hand corner, spawning as a Zerg in the red trunks. He's gone to several performances and has had consistently good results for the most part. Not quite winning any championships since the IEM Guangzhou 2012, I believe it was. 2011, more than likely. I give you none other than Evil Genius's very own EGIdrA. And in the upper right-hand corner is Mystique. His identity, he says nothing, and his name just leaves us all in Mystique. I give you none other than just a simple barcode player. Now, he did an extractor trick, so I would say that it's possible that it's Sen, maybe. I do know that Sen uses a barcode account from time to time, but of course the alias that he's been using in Heart of the Storm that's been trending lately is just, what's the word I'm looking for? Just Thin Sen, because of course he wanted to celebrate the fact that he has lost weight since last summer. When I met him myself, he was actually relatively, I would say pudgy, definitely, but since then he's actually lost his second chin, if you will. Of course, I used to have one of those myself. I lost 40 pounds. I gained 40 pounds, then I lost 40 pounds since I came back to America. And it looks like I actually forgot to give the names at the top. And, of course, the supply counts. Here we go. EGIdrA putting down his gas just now. But, of course, from our barcode player, he actually, I think he went, yes, he went, if this is the build I'm thinking it was 15 hatch. Then, or excuse me, 15 pull, then 15 hatch, possibly 14 pull into 15 hatch, who knows. But, of course, it's a much, you could say, safer build, but it works against you in the later phase of early game ZVZ, because, of course, then you are concerned with who has metabolic boost first, who's going to have more speedlings out, things of that nature, and it looks like both players thus far are kind of playing it relatively well. When in doubt, extractor out, guys. I can't say that enough. One thing that does kind of bother me, though, is at this level of ZVZ, we very seldom actually see a drone scout. Even from EGIdrA, it's one of those things that just perplexes me just a little bit. I'm like, well, of course the income does make the difference, but when you only lose enough to make one drone by scouting your opponent, just finding out where they are and whether or not they're six pulling, I think it's sometimes worth the knowledge, but here we go. First choice by EGIdrA was to throw down, it looks like a spine crawler. Rather defensive-ish opening, but not overtly defensive. That's to say, not too defensive, not over defensive, not blah blah blah, not this, not that, not just not too absurdly defensive. It doesn't mass spine crawlers. But of course we have the Baneling Nest going down for our barcode player in a defensive position. This is a defensive position because of course you can throw down a spine crawler, maybe a couple of evolution chambers here and there, and kind of make a small sim city for that forces links to go around. But of course that's not going to stop EGIdrA from getting into his opponent's main. His metabolic boost, wow, wait a minute. His metabolic boost is actually slated to finish after his opponent's. The irony of this is he started mining gas first. And both of those lings got in there, and I'm not sure. Oh my god, I have to click on this overlord. Did they find out whether or not he just as his lings got in there, he saw that his opponent was going for layer tech? What about he himself? His layer tech is shockingly even with that of his opponent, just 2 seconds behind. I'm sorry, it looks like I'm narrating this all from EGIdRA's perspective. I'm saying his opponent, this guy, that guy, but of course barcode, if I knew him as a personality, then I could probably cast him a little better. It's basically my fault, don't get me wrong, but I have casted an event that took place in Shanghai where we basically had the same thing. Barcode names showing up on the Chinese server at professional events. You know, kind of interesting. And if we check the income right now for both players, it's astoundingly even. I don't believe either player is oversaturated. That's right. 46 drones, 47 drones going down for EGIdrA. Looks like he's willing to replace something relatively soon. And both players getting their spires at the same damn time. Whoa! This game, guys. Wow. You know, there's only so much room for consistency. And now the thirds. Oh my god. Well, to be quite honest, Barcode actually put his down significantly further ahead. About 20 seconds ahead. That'll make time for, I don't know, maybe each drone to harvest 50 minerals. Or excuse me, not 50 minerals, but more like 20-ish minerals. And both players throwing down banelings at each location. Both players willing to take out each other's banelings first, but it looks like EGIdrA, this is the first mistake that he's making. He actually could not get a full surround on them. And our Barcode player, it looks like, is damn good. He already clicked down EGIdRA's banelings that were in production. We do have some more that are coming back here to reinforce it. It looks like they may just get here at the last second. But this kind of reminds me of that last championship game of the IEM Poland, with Kasin kind of jumping around that nexus, and now it looks like the Lings are being microed, and damn, this is just hard to say. You know, is he going to get the kill on this? Holy hell, Barcode. He's got mutas coming into the mix now. Excuse me, that would be EGIdRA's getting his mutas out first. We do have a few more banelings coming in. Of course, not the most effective use of them by Barcode. That is to say, EGIdRA controlled his much better and was able to take his opponents down much faster. Of course, we now have a total of 8 mutas in production for EGIdRA. Now 11-ish. He's actually gotten a good lead, but his opponent, and this is rather important, is getting +1 carapace first before EGIdRA got his started. It seems he's forgotten this. This is the only mistake that I can highlight from him, and this is important because if I ever find a moment to explain it to you, and it looks like this is that moment, we do see the overlords being cleared away. This is important because, interesting, Baneling and Ling's left behind there. This is important because of the glaive worm. It does splash damage. I forget how exactly it works. It's relatively little damage. But the Lings are coming in here at the third, and the Muta sniped one Baneling before it has the chance to really do any damage to the Lings. More Mutalisks in production for Barcode. And it looks like, you know, if we just check losses right now, Barcode has lost a lot to EGIdRA. He's also dealt out a lot of damage. If he can actually come in here and snipe this hatchery, it would definitely be well worth his time. Behind that, he's not done an all-in. He's actually ahead of EGIdRA slightly in the essence of economy. No, not slightly, but by 1/5 almost. More or less. He's got about 59 workers altogether. EGIdRA only had about 50. He's only resumed droning up now. So one thing that we could see our Barcode player get ahead on, but if he wasn't supply blocked, it would be much easier to do, would definitely be Mutalisk production. So if we check the mutas right now, and this is what it's going to come down to, it's basically Mutalisk count as well as upgrades. Did +1 finish for our Barcode? Yes, it did. EGIdRA still only just now getting an upgrade, and it actually appears to be the flyer attacks, which are going to negate the upgrades of the mutas. He says, oh, blank your OV. So it looks like whoever it is that is playing against EGIdRA right now, he is not actually, it could be Korean, but of course he has very good English skills at the very least. And here we go. EGIdRA actually supply blocking his opponent. That's actually quite critical. Takes out the accounting skills of his opponent, and right now EGIdRA has superior supply. He's just going to continue to stack mutas and stack mutas and stack mutas. Now this is all going to come down to the engagement, just how this runs down. But of course, 1-for-1, if EGIdRA were to take on all these mutas, he would definitely lose because he does not have the defensive armor upgrades. There's a lot of a lot of Lings going in there, and they kind of get some significant kills, but right now what EGIdRA doesn't realize is he's kind of fighting an uphill battle. He does have more mutas, but they all need to be grouped up and ready to go at a moment's notice. There we go, more overloads going out in production, and EGIdRA just laying waste to everything that flies, except for these mutas. He does have the superior count. It's all right here, and it's coming down to the math. It looks like EGIdRA is actually losing in this engagement because queens are being pulled, and this is actually really bad. EGIdRA has to pull back right now. Mutalisks count is 14 to 18, and as long as we continue to see more and more Mutalisks get pumped out, I'm sorry, it looks like I clicked on the wrong button. By the way, Hidden Expo going down. This is actually going to help out our barcode player a lot in future engagements, as well as production. He's just going to have to throw down maybe a macro hatch, keep this one down here on Hush Hush. And these Lings, are they going to see it? I don't think they did. That was so critical, so close. And here we go. These two drones are being turned into extractors while we have this kind of huge-ish engagement up here. 18 mutas from EGIdrA to 24 of his opponent. +1 carapace, +1 attacks did just finish, but +2 flyer attacks are more than halfway done for barcode. So even though he's got a lower supply right now, we're going to see it skyrocket due to two different things. One, he's got the income. He's had the income to really support it longer. And it looks like he's made the mistake of pulling all of his drones off of that, but he's actually... It looks like his aim for now is getting gas. Yes, he's floating so many minerals, and he knows that he doesn't need them. That is the wicked sick thing about this play. If that 6 o'clock expansion actually goes undiscovered, it could be just a matter of time until we see EGIdrA lose this game. You know, he's trying to produce, but he's only got 3 base production as opposed to his opponent's 4 base production. 1 extractor does lose all of its workers, but of course that is not a too terribly significant lead. And here we go. EGIdrA actually is now no longer oblivious to this expo, and now we have barcode saying, okay, it's time to go, go, go! 32 mutas against the 26 of EGIdrA. Because the mutas that we have for barcode are just now getting +1 flyer carapace. We see a significant supply block from EGIdrA. We need to see him get some spore crawlers out. And right now, it seems like slowly but surely, we have the mutas from our barcode player prevailing against the mutas of EGIdrA. He needs to pull back. He needs to throw away some Lings. He needs to realize that there's nothing those Lings can do versus mutas. And now we see that the leftover forces are actually in such a bad way for EGIdrA. But now it's kind of boiling down to a base race scenario. EGIdrA at 100 supply to the 106 of his opponent. His 3rd gets sniped, taken out. He does have his 4th on the way. It's almost finished. The question is, will it go undiscovered? We just have to wait and see. The mutas kind of engaging a spore crawler there. That is a big mistake, while the mutas of EGIdrA are coming down here, trying to hold their ground against it. And now there are all the mutas, and it looks like EGIdrA left the game. I can respect that decision. It looked like he was in losing fashion in every aspect except for drone count and Ling count. But of course, give it a few moments, and I'm sure the situation would have flopped on him. Especially with the spine crawlers, all the numerous spine crawlers in the natural from his opponent, ready to go into defensive mode. And EGIdrA had relatively little in the way of static defenses to hold off against this barcode player. So, altogether, respectable decision for EGIdrA to leave. He actually was not winning this game. And if you guys liked what you saw today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This has been Breaker. I will see you guys next time.